are weird people on the internet, y'all. You can't win, and that's just something that I've had to come to a conclusion about. I really, really, really want a McChicken. We'll just wait till the baby comes because that's all going to be ruined. Just remain positive, y'all. Just remain positive. No, I don't talk about it because of people like you. Like, it's just not helpful. We're recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's video. I just heard like some sizzling and I was like, what does that sound? It's my drink. So good. Okay. Listen, you guys know the title of this video. We are going to be doing a little chat with me video, but this time it is all things pregnancy. Before we even get into it, I do just want to start with a huge disclaimer. Anything that I talk about in today's video, none of it is factual or advice. This is purely about, one, my experience with pregnancy that I'm willing to share. Two, it is just about like my opinion and kind of like things that I've seen in my opinion on them. Three, I'm going to be sharing like at the end of the video some of the baby products that we have decided on and that we're going to be using. And those are also not saying that you need to buy those. Those are the products, the best products you need to buy. These are just like me sharing the ones that we picked and decided on. Do not take this video as like, oh, Destiny was talking about this, so I'm going to think and do and buy that. No, this is just purely me sharing some of my pregnancy thoughts and items and things like that. Whenever I ask questions, whenever I'm like, what do you guys want to know? Literally the most asked questions in the little Instagram box are always things around pregnancy, and you guys are like, anything you're willing to share pregnancy, please, please, please. I decided, that I was ready to sit down and talk about some parts of it. Now, I do want to say I still am just very private about my personal life. I've been very private about my decision to share my pregnancy and future child online. I talked about it back in April or May, and I know obviously like not everybody keeps up with all of the vlogs and stuff, and it was kind of like its own video. It was like a Q&A that I did. This one obviously like the title and everything, you guys more know it's more forward. But basically a few months ago I had shared that I was not going to be really talking about my pregnancy, like to not expect that in vlogs and things. Like I wasn't going to be doing, updates month by month, and I just wasn't going to make my content around that because that's not really like what I do. My channel is more like I'll do my book videos and then I do my lifestyle content, and as I've gotten older, I've kind of also just started trying to do a balance of the two of them. Oh crap, what was my original train of thought? This is where it would be so helpful if somebody was here and they were like, this is what you were talking about, like when I'm in the car talking to my fiance about something, especially now, the pregnancy brain has fully kicked in, and we will be in the car and I'll be talking to him about something and I'll pause and then he'll be like, you were talking about this is where you were going, and I'm like, thank you so much, because I did in fact forget after 5 seconds exactly what I was talking about. I had shared months ago that I wasn't going to share my pregnancy online and stuff about that, and honestly in this video I'm going to be talking about a few different topics that I've written down, but I'm still not going to be like overly sharing anything because of a multitude of reasons, but also just because I do really value privacy for specific parts of my life, and this is just one of them. But also I know that people are interested to hear like some of the things around it, so here we are. However, I do want to say really quick before we get into everything in today's video, I want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which is none other than Squarespace. Thank you so much again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. You guys know I always talk about if there is anything you or anyone needs to build a website for, Squarespace is 100% the way to go. They offer so many different tools to help you build your website and also help it run smoothly. Their analytics definitely are going to keep you knowing what is working best for your website. It's going to allow you to see where people are coming from, kind of what is bringing them back. That way you know that you are making the best choices for the success of your website. They're also now helping you with email campaigns. They give you a template that you can fill out and basically send out emails to keep people coming back to the website. Now you can even sell content on Squarespace, whether that's blogs, videos, subscriptions, whatever it may be. You decide if it's a one-time or an annual fee. So if you guys are interested, head on over to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and when you guys are ready to launch, head on over to squarespace.com/DestinySaidWell to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The Notes app, y'all know there's stuff that lives in our Notes app. First of all, I do just want to talk a little bit about kind of my pregnancy experience success thus far overall. And I will say I am very, very blessed and thankful to have had the pregnancy that I've had. One of the things that were just important to me when finding out that I was pregnant was that I wanted to maintain being active as long as that was possible, because obviously, you know, pregnancy just looks different for every single person, and that might be something that I honestly just like keep saying, so I'm sorry if that gets annoying to hear, but genuinely, person by person, you deal with things differently, you think about things differently. Everybody has different, you know, like priorities or different ways that they think. But for me, I've just been very blessed with being able to stay active throughout the whole entire pregnancy and continue on with the same routine that I had prior to being pregnant. That was the whole entire thing, that I didn't all of a sudden like ramp up what I was doing. I kept the same exact routine that I've always had. Like I said, I just want to say though, I'm very lucky and thankful that that has been easy with my pregnancy and that I haven't had health scares or anything that was concerning. You know, like I passed all of the blood tests that you've had to do when they check for gestational diabetes. Like none of that was a concern, thankfully, because those were things that honestly throughout like the whole entire kind of earlier part of pregnancy made me so anxious, like thinking about those things. So I've just been very, very thankful that like when I go to the doctor, the appointments are just very straightforward. Pregnancy is the most like wild thing that I've ever went through, because your body is like constantly changing. Literally feeling a human like grow inside of your body and feel them like move around and the things that come with that. It's also just been a learning curve, honestly, you know, because this is like your first time doing it. All of a sudden there's like so many things to learn, so many things to look out for. You're like, okay, as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you're like, or this at least was the case with me. When I found out I was pregnant, I immediately went to Google, and I know, I know we're all going, you know, but I mean that I immediately went to Google and I was like, okay, what should I be having? What should I not be having? And like that, like learning like, okay, well, I need to take prenatal vitamins. Like I was taking, now I take the Ritual prenatal vitamins, and honestly, those are the ones that are like in the capsules. You take 2 a day. When I first was pregnant, I'm somebody who has a hard time taking pills. Like I can't do it. Cannot take pills with just water. It needs to be something else. I don't know why I am the way that I am. When I first found out I was pregnant, I was taking prenatal like gummies, which you were like taking 2 gummy vitamins a day. But the taste, I don't know why, in every single prenatal vitamin that I have had, even my prenatal vitamins that I take, they have this like fishy taste to them, like the gummies, the capsules and everything. And I know that there's probably like something specific in there that makes it have that taste, but for some reason with the gummies, I just could not do it. I started off with these gummies. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I'll put it up. I tried I think the brand is called like Smarty Pants gummies. Y'all, I remember ordering these and I was like, okay, taking them, I literally automatically, like I took them, the taste of them, I started gagging so bad in my kitchen sink. Like I can still remember this so vividly. Full on was about to just regurgitate those. Sorry for talking about throwing up. I know I'm somebody who hates the talk of it too, but so I immediately was like, no. And then I decided on the Ritual ones because I had seen other people that I follow, like when they were pregnant, or if I were following people who just so happened to be pregnant, they were talking about the Ritual vitamins, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try those. So I've been taking those ever since, and honestly, they're just way better to me. Like I just way prefer taking those, and this is actually reminding me that I do in fact need to take my prenatal vitamins. That's usually the first thing I do when I wake up, is I go to the kitchen, fill up my water bottle, and I take my prenatal vitamins with some type of drink in the morning. And this morning I was just like all over the place actually this morning, so I did not take those yet, but I need to. Each phase of like what your body has been going through, it has just been really such a wild journey to be pregnant and like watch the body changes and like hormones and everything and like different things that happen with your body. I literally think one of the like craziest things is just like feeling your baby move. Like right now, like I can feel different, even like little like tiny movements that the baby is making, and that was something that my mind genuinely could never wrap around. Like I have my niece, I've been around people who have had children, like I talked about this, you know, like this is something that I knew about obviously before being pregnant, but it's just something that you you, like, I feel like can't even wrap your mind around it until you experience pregnancy. It is hard. Like, it is hard. And like I said, I've had a thankfully very, I would say, easy, as in no complications. Like, we haven't had any of that. Pregnancy is hard. It's hard on your body. I'm constantly uncomfortable. I'm constantly in pain. Your hormones are all over the place. Your anxiety is all over the place, especially somebody who already has anxiety. Like, sometimes when you are thinking about certain things, like, it's just a wild ride. With my pregnancy and anxiety, don't get anxious about taking care of a child and being like, how am I going to do this? Of course, everybody has that thought of being like, how am I going to do this? But something that I've just kept telling myself, anytime that I would even like feel that thought come in my brain, this isn't a thought that makes me anxious, but anytime the thought would come up in my brain, I would always tell myself, like, you can do this. Like, this is the path that's meant for you. Like, you are going to be able to do it. You are going to figure it out. You have a strong partner. Like, this, like, you are going to be okay. So I haven't felt any of that pregnancy. Like I said, I've just kind of been going with the flow with it and just like figuring out things as I go. One of the things that I deal with a lot is my feet hurt and my feet swell very, very bad. Like, I feel like nothing else on me really swells, but my feet, y'all, my feet, I get so much feet pain and I have to prop them up literally like every day and get the blood flow circulating. And if I sit in a car or like when I go to the doctor's office and I'm sitting on the bed and you kind of start cutting off circulation to your legs, y'all, my feet swell so fast and I'm like, and then I'm uncomfortable. I've also been having some like rib discomfort for a few weeks now in my back. Like, you know, like there are things like that, especially the further along you get, that you're just like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable, but it's okay. It's worth it. And I'm just, like I said, very thankful for my pregnancy experience thus far that I can even speak on. It has just already been like one of the most rewarding things for me. I have just had a really good time being pregnant, honestly. One of the things that comes with pregnancy though, that I feel like is a question, especially I feel like throughout like the beginning kind of part of my pregnancy, or just that everybody would be asking me, was about cravings. Like, everybody was like, are you craving anything? Is there anything, you know, like cravings and food aversion? One of the food aversions that I've had is Chipotle. If y'all have been following me for a while, you would know that for the past like 1.5 to 2 years, even my mom literally just said this to me like yesterday. We were talking on the phone and she was like, you used to like 5 nights a week. Even my mom, especially because when I lived at home, my mom would be making dinner and I'd be like, I'm just gonna go get Chipotle. I would just go get a Chipotle bowl that had literally just like rice, half steak, half chicken, and like fresh like pico, and that was it. Like, that was what I was eating from Chipotle literally almost every single day. And then randomly I was pregnant and I was like, that actually sounds so gross. Like, I could not imagine. And I literally have barely ate, I think I've ate Chipotle like not even enough times to hold up on both hands this whole entire pregnancy, because it never sounds good to me, literally ever. And when I have ate it, I've just been like, I don't really feel the best after. The only other one I would say is chicken, randomly chicken, but this is gonna sound weird, only when I am preparing it myself, like when I'm cooking and I have to like take the raw chicken, season it and everything, I'm literally like gagging. It was very, very bad first trimester. I literally couldn't. No, you could not get me to eat chicken. I was like, no. But then it got better, and especially like since I've lived here, I've been able to prepare chicken. I've always been a type of person though that's really grossed out by the process of like making dinner and like cooking meat. It's always been very, very hard for me. I'm very annoying. Like, I'm calling my mom and I'm like, hey, I've cooked the chicken or steak for this long. I don't know, like, are you sure that it's fine? Like, I'm very annoying when it comes to like preparing cooking meat. I feel like I will just randomly get aversions and then I'll be over them. Cravings, one of the things that I can say like I never would just have before being pregnant is cereal. Why is this a universal experience that I even see women post like cereal is the best thing ever in pregnancy? Like, you're just like, yes, I could go for cereal 100%. Make me a bowl of cereal. The amount of times that for dinner I'll just be like, I'll just eat a bowl of cereal, it's fine. Literally, I plan on eating Special K tonight for dinner actually, because I'm now back in the phase of like being grossed out by all food and not wanting to make anything. No food sounds good. Like, I don't have anything that I even crave. Like, ooh, I really want that right now. I'm like, no, I'll just put something together randomly. Like, I bought Uncrustables from the store because I was like, I'll just eat a peanut butter and jelly. Like, I'll just call it a day. Cereal was like one of the first things, like cravings that hit me, that I was like, I am going around the corner, because I was like, I'm going around the corner and I'm getting some cereal, and I need like 3 different boxes of cereal because all of them sound good and I need to try them out now. That was a random one. I also, like, I remember this spring into the start of the summer, I had a specific craving that I would want a McChicken. Literally, that was the only thing I would want. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I want McDonald's. I would be like, ooh, I really, really, really want a McChicken. Constantly tell my fiance I really want a McChicken. The amount of times he'd be like, I got you a McChicken. Like, just show up. And I was like, thank you so much. Also, the one that I recently have had that I still feel like I'm kind of in, Sour Patch Kids. Why have I been so obsessed with Sour Patch Kids for the longest time? For the past like few weeks, I don't know, like, I'm so obsessed with it. If I like buy a bag and I run out of them, I'm like, I need more Sour Patch Kids this instant. It is so random, and it's just been funny because I'm just somebody who has, before being pregnant, the same eating patterns of like, I would just kind of have like the same breakfast and dinner and just kind of like eat the same things, never really crave things like out of the ordinary. Chocolate malts. Whole entire pregnancy, chocolate malts. I've always loved them, but it's like, I need one though. Like, I need somebody to go get me a chocolate malt and bring it to me now. Like, I would be like, I deserve one. But also, I've had like random little cravings. Like, one day randomly, like when I would go to the grocery store, this is where it gets dangerous. Dangerous is being dramatic. I went to Kroger and I was like having to pick up random things to get for dinner, and I saw just animal crackers, just plain animal cracker. Can't tell you last time I had an animal cracker. Why I was like, oh yeah, yes, you're coming home with me. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, like the combinations that you hear of like your whole entire life. Women who are pregnant crave these random crazy like pickles and peanut butter. Like, I was never like that. It was never any like really weird foods or food combinations. It was always just like stuff that you could just go get at the store. It's never been anything, you know, whatever. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe the farther along I get, I'll be like, yeah, give me a pickle and peanut butter, even though that sounds literally so gross. Also, something that falls under maybe like an aversion with pregnancy that I've had is coffee. Even in this video, I was like, ooh, I kind of want a fun drink with my water. I recently just picked up some pumpkin spice creamer, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to make my own like fall drink at home, because that will be fun. Like, why go, you know, probably more than likely waste money at one of these drive-thrus and you won't like their coffee. Try to make it at home, you know. But the thought, one, of coffee, like, I'm gonna say 95% of the time, because my fiance, he is a coffee person. I've always said my fiance, coffee person, me, energy drink person. And obviously I haven't had energy drinks since being pregnant. I have not had any, but my fiance, he is a coffee person. He's like, oh, I want a coffee. I'm really craving a coffee. Me, I'm like, give me an Alani Nu. Let me go in the pantry. Let me go grab an Alani Nu. That is me 100% of the time. And he is too. I got him and like some of our friends on Alani Nu. He will be like, oh, do you want to go get a coffee? And I'm like, I actually could throw up all over the place at the thought of drinking a coffee. But then sometimes I'm like, I could go for a coffee. Don't end up drinking it. Like, I'm like, I'll take like a few sips. Like, a few sips is enough for me, and then I'm like, yeah, no, this was not a good idea. I don't want it. Genuinely, I've had like a coffee aversion to where I just do not want coffee, and like the thought of like making a coffee at home grosses me out. Can't do it. So I'm interested to see how that will be after pregnancy, if I will fall back into like wanting coffee, or if I'll just be strictly like, I'll just have an energy drink type of gal, because that's just kind of how I've always been, where I said I would go get a coffee kind of socially. Like, I would be like, oh, something to do or with friends, yeah, let's go get a coffee. But I never was really craving it. I feel like I crave, like, taste wise, my hot coffee more than like making my iced coffee. Something that has been so interesting to me since being pregnant is the learning curve and social media usage while being pregnant. What is it about your algorithm that is literally watching you? Like, whenever I listen to somebody's watching me, that's what it feels like. Like, my algorithm, like, that's what goes through my head. Because how do they know? I remember finding out that I was pregnant, and then obviously, like, maybe you look something up, I don't know, and then all of a sudden your algorithm like knows you're pregnant, and then they just feed you like all of this content of people talking about pregnancy things, talking about baby. items, talking about pregnancy items, talking about postpartum, like talking about things like that, it can be very, very overwhelming, especially as a first-time mom. I will say that was one of the things that was very, very hard for me at first, because obviously I know and have known things about being pregnant, but you don't know everything. Like, there are things that just aren't talked about, which is absolutely wild to me, that I feel like women and just society as a whole are not educated enough on like pregnancy, birth, things like that. Because the amount of things I have found out since being pregnant and like learning, I'm like, wow, they do not talk about this. They literally give you the bare minimum amount of information, even like what to expect when going to OB appointments while pregnant, and like what that looks like and what checkups look like every single time, depending on what week you're at, and like different things and tests that you might have to do while being pregnant, and then kind of things about labor and things about postpartum. I remember always knowing like what happens, like the bare minimum of what happens in birth. Like, you know, like you're like, I know that you can get a C-section. This is what can happen in a C-section. This is what can happen in a birth. Like, I know all of these things. I even knew things that could happen in pregnancy. There were a lot of things that my own mom went through that I remember she's always talked about with her pregnancies that I was very aware of. Things you can have while being pregnant and different kind of complications you can have and like different things like that. So I was very aware of even like where things could kind of like go, if you want to say, I don't want to say go wrong, but things that could kind of be not the best while being pregnant or like giving birth and things like that. I knew all of that, but there's just things that they do not tell you that I learned from being on TikTok and hearing women talk about their doctor's appointments, their births, their postpartum. Like, I knew you give birth and like you're going to be bleeding for a while after birth. I did not know that you had to do the whole entire wearing a diaper, pads that you should make, your little like pad sub is what people call them, because it literally looks like you are making a sub at Subway. Okay, the stuff that you put in a pad after giving birth, especially like directly after giving birth, it eventually tapers off into like you can just put a pad on, but like when you first give birth, the little like concoction you've got to make every single time that you go to the bathroom. I didn't know about that. I was like, oh wow, I did not know that you like had to buy all of these products and like do all of this after birth. Like, that was not like something that I feel like is just widely talked about. And then learning some of the things that will happen when you give birth, and then like after giving birth, like things that you can expect to happen in the hospital and with your baby and things like that. Like, it's just been a huge learning curve and a lot of information to take in at once, and it can feel very, very overwhelming. And I feel like that is another thing that's just been interesting, is social media while pregnant and how that's been for me, because I've talked about multiple times, but especially kind of recently, that I took a step back from social media for a multitude of reasons, but it's also been very helpful for me. So then sometimes I like will go back on TikTok. Like, for example, I remember I was like, oh, I need to look up reviews on different baby diapers, or what people are packing in their hospital bag. Like, what are people bringing with them? Or like, what are essentials for postpartum care? Like, there are things like that where I just preferred going on TikTok to get the information. I feel like you can just quickly see a lot of different opinions, which is also very overwhelming, because sometimes you'll like scroll and one video will be like, you need this, and the next video will be like, don't use that. Where do I fall? Do I fall under the I need it or I don't need it? You know, all of that stuff. And it's like I said at the beginning of the video, it's also hard because every pregnancy is different. So and every baby is even different too, where, you know, like I had done so much research and watched so many videos of people talking about their must-have baby products, and I would kind of see like what the common denominator products were across all of the videos. I mean, I was sitting here doing like tallies of how many videos talked about different products, and even like going to the comments and being like, okay, what's the overall vibe in the comments? You know, like not just the videos, but what are the comments saying? And it's hard because you can buy a product and it's being raved about, but your baby may just not vibe with it. For pregnancy and for your baby, it's just like, it's hard because people can recommend things and you're like, oh, this is so helpful, but then it's like, you know, that just doesn't work for your baby and you just kind of got to figure it out yourself. Social media, I remember I just really liked it, but also it was very overwhelming. And sometimes just going on social media, and like I said, I would be looking at these videos of being like, okay, what product should I be using? And then one person is kind of like just sharing a product or an experience that they had, and then like going to the comments and it's just like mom shaming. Y'all, this is another reason why I was like, I am okay. I'm not sharing my baby on the internet. One, the internet is weird. The internet is a weird place. We all spend so much time on the internet. There are weird people on the internet, y'all. I'm good. I had never, ever in my life planned on making family content or making any children that I had the center of my content ever. That was never something that I wanted to do. And also, I feel like you can talk about being a mom and you can talk about motherhood without making the sole focus of it your kids. I kind of, if you guys are interested, I don't know if anybody's interested in this, but like I said, plan on sharing some of the baby products that we have bought, and obviously we have not used them yet, so it's not a review, it's just kind of like what we decided on. And then I thought we could do like, I don't know, a video checking in after they are used on like what I think is worth it or not out of like what I bought, you know, maybe to be a little bit helpful. If you guys would be interested in seeing that video, I could make it. But like, I feel like you can talk about motherhood and being a mom and things like that without sharing them specifically online. And also there's a difference. I feel like if you show posting a picture, like I've even said before, you could maybe in a photo dump, if I was like, oh, maybe you can just see that I'm pushing a stroller, or that maybe it's just kind of you're holding them and you can see the back of them or something, never their face, never any of their personal information. Do I ever plan on sharing? There's a lot of weird people on the internet. I feel like one of the things that we deal with now online is the parasocial nature in relationships with people that we watch. You can't help it in ways. If you're watching somebody all the time and you love watching their content, it's almost like you slip into it almost. But some people just take it way too far. One, some people love to hate you and hate every single thing that you do, which is honestly a compliment. If they're spending all of their time hating you, like that's a compliment on you. My child has never been something that I am like putting up for information to debate on, to scold me over, and to also just like theorize about. And it's hard because literally I even just saw a post yesterday. Basically it was like a woman who had decided not sharing my kids online, not really talking about my kids online. Maybe I'll talk about them sometimes, but they're not the focus of what I'm doing at all. You can't win, because obviously people are like, yes, do not show your kids online, because online has just become such a crazy space and it's not safe. Like, there are so many things you hear about that you just like don't even want to think about. I'm protecting my child's privacy. I chose to share some of my life online. That's not my child's decision that I did that, so that they're not a part of that. Like, I'm not doing it. You're trying your best to protect your child and protect your peace as a family, and then people will still comment and be like, oh, you're never with your kids. Oh, you must like hate being a mom because you don't talk about that. Like, you can't win sometimes. Like, that is actually a comment that I had got, because like I said, especially for different stages of pregnancy where I was like, I just really do not want to talk about it online, because opinions, no matter if they're trying to be helpful or hateful, they just weren't something that I could mentally handle, because it's just a lot, like I said, a lot of information at once, a lot of differences of opinions that when you are somebody who like posts your life online, or even if you aren't, like even if you just go and aren't necessarily somebody who's trying to post online, but then say you post a video and then so many people are just like commenting kind of unsolicited opinions or unsolicited advice, or even if you asked for it, it's just overwhelming sometimes. I just wanted to figure it out my own, but I also again wanted to protect my peace, the privacy of my family. Like, that is not something that we ever agreed to putting in the public eye, and that's just not something that I really wanted to put in the public eye. I really feel fiercely protective of that. And I have gotten comments of people who literally assume that I hate being pregnant, I'm so unhappy that I'm going to be a mom, all of these crazy things. This is what I mean by on social media sometimes it's just so hard, and that's been hard to like use and post on social media during this time, because it's such a sensitive time already. And then to have people commenting because I wanted to protect my peace and privacy, and they're like, oh, you don't talk about your kid? Well, obviously you seem unhappy that you're pregnant because you don't talk about it at all. It's like, no, I don't talk about it because of people like you. Like, I don't talk about it because then the second that I open my mouth and I'm talking about pregnancy, you're gonna have something else negative to say and how I'm doing this wrong or I'm doing that wrong. You can't win, and that's just something that I've had to come to a conclusion about. Somebody is going to be upset about something regardless, and you just have to be like strong in your own decisions and knowing that you're doing what's best for you. But that's where social media has just been such an interesting thing while being pregnant, because because it's been a tool, but it's also been something that's been very overwhelming and scary. Because another thing is like when looking up these things, obviously, like I said, your algorithm then feeds you all of this content when you log on, because obviously like you have been looking this up. So they're like, hey, you've been looking this up, here's more of it. There is good in sharing like, this is my labor experience, this is my postpartum experience, because you need to see every side of it and be educated of every side of it. But sometimes the like fear that people put, or like a mom could post a video, and I've seen this so many times, post a video being like having a positive postpartum experience, or even maybe just a clip of a good day, because you truly don't know like what somebody is doing when they're not filming. Like you don't know. We've been saying social media is a highlight reel for years, and I feel like sometimes now though with TikTok you see a little bit more of different sides, because I feel like now people are, you know, kind of showing more like raw, genuine sides of things. But also for some people it's like, yeah, I'm wanting to share. I felt really good that I had a good day today. I had a good experience. I've been having a good experience for maybe a good week. Here's this video. Or they've just had a good experience, period. Like I said, everybody is different. Everything is different. The comments are just like mom shaming, or just being like, oh, you just wait. Y'all, the just wait, like that is every expecting mom is just like, when somebody, like when you tell somebody something, they're like, oh, just wait, you're automatically like, sometimes I'm like, maybe somebody's not trying to come across in a negative way. Maybe they're not. But then as soon as you tell somebody, just wait, it has a negative connotation to it. And you're already kind of like putting this negative perspective onto somebody. If somebody is trying to remain positive about the situation they're in, or just remain positive about it, and you're like, oh, just wait. Or if they're like, oh, are you tired? And you're like, yeah, I didn't get good sleep last night. They're like, just wait till the baby comes. And you're like, thank you. Nope, I had no clue that was something I'm gonna have to deal with. Like, it's just not helpful. But it's something that is like a universal experience that people love to do, whether that's in person or online. If you literally are like, oh yeah, I'm just feeling a little exhausted today, people will be like, just wait till the baby comes. Or if you're like, yeah, I'm feeling good, like I feel like I'm on this good routine right now, like I feel like I kind of got this groove down, and then somebody's like, well, just wait till the baby comes, because that's all going to be ruined. One, why are we instilling this fear in mothers? I know people say, well, you need to just be realistic, and it's like, but what if me being positive is going to ultimately help that postpartum experience, or the experience with a baby, period? Me being positive is going to more help me than you putting the fear and being like, no, it's going to be terrible. Because here's the thing, you're already aware of what it could be. Like, you know, it could be sleepless nights. It could be that your baby has colic. It could be anything. But if you are trying to remain positive, just remain positive, y'all. Just remain positive. Try to ignore the people that are like, just wait, you're going to hate your life. Because ultimately trying to stay positive about the experience will very, very, very much help. And like I said, there's a lot of things that could happen. Yes, be educated on the things that can happen, but also you don't have to live in the negativity and fear. That's just been another thing, like being on social media, and then like I said, like mom shaming. That was another thing where I was like, I just don't even have the energy to like talk about pregnancy and what I'm doing. Because if you go to any comment section on pretty much any video, if a woman is being vulnerable and sharing pregnancy, birth, postpartum, there are people in the comments, it's like epidural versus natural birth, or it's like formula versus breastfeeding, it's doing this while pregnant, doing that while pregnant, it's like doing this with a baby, doing that with a baby. Everybody always has something to say, and it's genuinely one of the places that I've been like, this is the most place I've seen just like a lot of mom shaming. But it's also, I've seen it be very, very, very supportive, and people be very loving and understanding and kind and compassionate. And you've really got to look at those people, because we're all in this together, and you've just got to be a mom's mom. You know how they say a girl's girl? You've just got to be a mom's mom and be understanding with people, and just be like, you know what, loving approach. If somebody asks for advice, don't make them terrified for their life, because I see that a lot too, where a mom will be having a vulnerable moment and talk about something, and then like all of the comments are just like not necessarily negative as in attacking the mom, but it's like negative as in, this is terrible, this is going to be terrible, this is going to be terrible. I just don't know if that's necessarily very helpful. You know, I feel like it can be helpful to hear that other people have had a similar experience to you, because it can make you feel not so alone. Because sometimes in postpartum, especially as the mother, I'm sure you can feel very much isolated. Oh my gosh, am I doing this wrong? Am I doing that? So it can be helpful to just hear somebody, but I feel like it's all in the way you say it / share it. This happened to me, but it's a lot better now versus just being purely negative and being like, you should be scared for your life. That's where it's different. I don't know. It's just been interesting to see discourse all over the internet and opening up the mom side of the internet. A very, very, very interesting place to be. But it's also been very helpful for me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is crazy. No, it's been very helpful, especially like different products and stuff that were recommended and everything like that. Talking about that, I wanted to talk about the products we decided on, mostly like the big things that we decided on. We did a lot of research into what we wanted, what kind of, like I said, overall opinions of real people. And like I said, I looked it up like on TikTok, on YouTube and stuff, because I wanted to see real people reviewing these products, like not just reading the product reviews online. Like, I wanted to see overall what real people were saying. The very, very, very first like big thing that we had bought for the baby was the car seat and stroller. That was the like first thing that we had even bought. Like, we had not bought clothes, anything for the baby, and we had bought the car seat and stroller. Also because I think it was going to take a while to get here, so we went ahead and bought it first. But after like research and just researching different brands, we decided on the Nuna Pippa Air RX. That was the car seat that we decided on, and we have done a lot of practice because we also paired it with the Nuna Mix stroller. And I will say, we went into the store, we had decided on Nuna, the brand, and I was like, I would really like to obviously like go into a store in person, test out the different strollers and car seats to make a decision. And we just so happened to, the Nuna representative was at the store that day, probably, you know, telling the employees stuff that they need to do to sell the strollers. It was actually very helpful. We spent quite a bit of time in the store kind of learning about the different strollers and car seats and everything, which made me feel more secure in my decision. The car seat is so easy to get in and out of the base and in and out of the stroller, and the stroller is so easy. I mean, I can one hand collapse it. It also has different height variations on the handle. That way, you know, obviously I am like 5'2". My fiance is a lot taller than me, so it's nice to be able to like have, you know, height differences. And the car seat is very good quality. I really love it so far. Like I said, there's no baby in it, but so far from what we've tested, I was looking at a different Nuna stroller. I can't remember the model we were looking at, but I was between one model and this one. The other model was more expensive than the Nuna Mix, and I liked the Nuna Mix way better because the wheels on the back are bigger. It's made for all terrain, and I think they were like, oh, it's a little bit heavier, and I was like, I'll be fine. Like, I'll be fine. To me, it rolls smoother. I feel like it's a lot more sturdy, so I felt really good with that one. And the next thing that we did a lot of research on was a bassinet. So obviously there are a lot of bassinets that you can choose from. I actually also ended up getting the bassinet attachment for the stroller because I go on a lot of walks and I plan on, you know, like continuing that and making that just a part of the routine, especially with the baby. I feel like it's also nice to get the baby out of the house, just like walking and going on walks when it's the appropriate time. And with the bassinet attachment, I really liked it because it's not keeping the baby in a car seat. And as the baby gets older, also I've seen people do where they will do like tummy time on walks in a bassinet attachment. And so I just decided to do that. That's not a necessity at all, but that's like a separate little attachment that I had bought for the stroller that I just decided that I feel like could be really useful, that I would use a lot. For the bassinet, as in like the bedside bassinet where the baby will be sleeping, I decided to get the Halo Bassinet Connected Swivel Sleeper 3.0. This one you can control from the app. It's like a smart bassinet, and so I'm pretty sure, from off the top of my head, and like I said, pregnancy brain, off the top of my head, it's saying like it can kind of sense if your baby's kind of stirring or crying. It will kind of do this rocking motion to try to soothe your baby back to sleep, you know, like if it needs to go back to sleep and you're trying to get the baby to sleep. I like that there's a locking mechanism on the back where you, like, the wall won't go down, but also you can unlock it and it swivels, so you can just like swivel it over, unlock it, and then you can just like collapse the wall down and get the baby. Like, it just makes it a lot easier. I just thought that it was the best fit for what I was looking for. And then I had seen so many people talk about the Mom Cozy bottle washer. You can also use this for if you're breastfeeding like your pump supplies as well. I had seen this, and obviously because when you are washing a baby's bottle, you want to be like sterilizing it, making sure it's all clean and ready to go. And obviously like when you are in it, you're like, oh yeah, washing bottles and like going through that whole entire thing, it can just be daunting. And if you or somebody just like in your family wants to make that purchase, I feel like it's a nice thing. And this is like one of the things that we had gotten gifted to us. My parents had bought this, and the next item, I used it for the first time the other day because I was like, obviously I need to try to like use this. Like I shouldn't just have this machine out. I should try to use it. I will say, like, lifesaver. I just know that thing will be a lifesaver. I've even seen people like tell me, recommend me it, or even people on TikTok were like, listen, that is something that you think is unnecessary and then you're so glad that you had bought it. And like I said, it's not a necessity. It's definitely not, but I feel like it's just like a peace of mind thing that if you are able to, or like I said, if somebody in your family wants to get it for you, like it's a very good thing to have. And the other thing is the Baby Brezza formula machine. I have not used this yet because like I said, I do not have a baby. I'm not just out here just wasting the formula that we have. But this is one that I feel like obviously will really just come in handy for like quickly making the bottles. And again, it's not a necessity, but it's just something that's very convenient. And like I said, that my parents had bought us those two machines, and so I'm very grateful because I feel like it's something that will just help. Something else that we got was the baby, is it the Baby Bjorn? I never know how to pronounce his name. Baby Bjorn bouncer. So we had gotten this as well, and this is just kind of one of those things that you sit the baby in for a little bit. Obviously not too much time, like not spending too much time in that, but it's a nice, you know, thing to have for if you're needing to get something done really quick, you're just wanting to put the baby somewhere. So we had gotten that, as well as the Snuggle Me Lounger. This is something, again, in the baby's like wake window, or if you're right there with the baby, to place the baby in. There's a few of these products that I'm interested to see. Again, if you guys want the video of me talking about kind of an update on like what baby products we use the most and what I think you could probably pass on. But like I said, it's so hard to make one of those videos because everybody and every baby is different. This is one of the things that I was like, I'm interested to see how often we'll use this, because I feel like I see so many people on TikTok use it so much, or even when I'm scrolling through Pinterest, I'll like get pictures and it's a baby and I can tell they're in a Snuggle Me Lounger. And kind of going back a little bit, I should have talked about this directly after talking about the Baby Brezza bottles that we decided on, because that's a whole entire other thing too. Like this is things that I was like becoming a mom and becoming a parent and like deciding on what bottles you want to use, glass versus plastic. I decided on the Philips Avent bottles as well as the Even Flow bottles, both of them being the glass bottles, just because I've heard that the glass bottles are a lot better. So that's what I went with. The nipples on both of those bottles are different. I've heard that the Even Flow is better. We're going to be trying out both of them, so I will see kind of like what baby prefers. But we have both of those, and that's kind of like what I decided on with that. It's like stuff like that. Like I said, your baby is just so different. Like every baby takes to things differently, so it's interesting to see what they will like. Swaddles. This was a different thing that I had learned because I was like, okay, there's different brands and types of swaddles. I have like 3, I think, different types of swaddles that I'm going to try out. First of all, the Halo bassinet, they also sell swaddles, and it's the Halo sleep sack swaddles. So basically put them in it and it zips up like a sleep sack, but then they have these flaps that fold over. So it's more of like that style where it's swaddling them in a traditional way, but it's like they kind of have more room because it's a sleep sack and you just kind of have their arms, you know, kind of swaddled in. But I also bought the brand always escapes me. I'm gonna have the images up obviously when I'm talking about these things, but it's this one. It is the swaddle where the babies are able to have their hands up, because, you know, just kind of seeing whether your baby sleeps better and is more comfortable if they're comfortable being swaddled up. Some babies just don't like that, so I also got the other swaddle just to be sure, and then, you know, just more of like a traditional blanket. Something else that I had seen everybody talk about is the Kikaru changing pad, and that's what I decided to get because obviously I have the nursery all set up and we have the dresser with the like changing pad on top, and so there's a whole changing station upstairs, but I brought those things downstairs, and the Kikaru changing pad I just kind of plan on having out and then like changing the baby on that. And what's nice about it, and I feel like why people really like it, I feel like the price point is very expensive for what it is, but it's nice that it is a wipeable changing pad. Like you can just wipe it down really quick if anything gets on it. So I did buy that. Like I said, that's another one of the baby products that I'm going to be like you know, it's hard because we don't have another changing pad, but it's more like, can you probably get a dupe for this? Probably, because baby wearing is something, especially like as you're in the newborn stage, like around the house, I see people do, and I feel like is very useful if you're trying to get, you know, like something done and you're just wearing the baby. So I did get these Solly baby wraps. I'm going to try those. They look complicated to tie up, but I feel like after you do it a few times, you'll like have it down. I feel like newborns, in my opinion, like when I see the traditional carriers, because we also do have one of the different actual baby carriers, I'm forgetting the brand. My fiance for Mother's Day had bought me a few things. He had bought me the base diaper backpack. We have that as a diaper bag option, and he had also bought one of the Artie Pop carriers for us, but I was like, I just feel like that's for when the baby is bigger, like for the traditional baby carriers, and I feel like the wraps are really good for when they are a newborn. We have some of those. I'm interested to see, you know, like how often those get used. I feel like I would use them pretty often. I feel like the only like daunting thing about them is like learning how to tie them and just like being like, yep, let me put this baby on really quick, hold on, okay, through here, you know. But then I feel like once I see moms do the tutorial and you can tell that they have the hang of it, like it's a lot simpler. So we got that, and then diapers. Last thing, diapers. This was something that I was like, okay, I'm making a decision. I want to have clean, good ingredient diapers that I feel like are good quality, clean ingredients, best that I can, right? I know everybody talks about the Coterie diapers. I know. I watched the amount of people that I watched talk about Coterie, Millie Moon, Kudos, like different brands of these clean diapers. And I was like, okay. And I feel like in all of the videos and even comments, I saw Kudos like come out on top for every single one that I had watched. Like moms were like, no, I feel like Kudos, we have the best time with like limited amount of blowouts. I feel like the ingredients are just very, very, very clean. They are like the best for the baby. Like I had seen so many people say good things about Kudos, so that's one that I ended up deciding on because I was like, you know what, I feel comfortable with the ingredients. The band on them, I remember the moms were like, I feel like this is good. I feel like you can't, you know, stop a blowout sometimes, but it's like the band of it kind of helps with that. I decided on Kudos for diapers. That's all of the products like off the top of my head, like because obviously there's clothes and stuff that we bought and like brands that I bought from, but I feel like that's a whole entire other thing again that I feel like could be more dived into like once you have the baby and like talking about them. But these are the products that we decided to buy like with, you know, awaiting the arrival. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know that you guys had been asking me, like I said, for kind of just like talk about the pregnancy, talk about things like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed kind of just like my thoughts, comments, and things like that. And maybe you're pregnant as well, expecting, you're a mom, whatever it may be, or maybe not. I used to watch YouTubers who were pregnant and I was like, I'm not pregnant, I'm in high school. You know, like I'm not, you know, like I'm not doing any of that, but it's just interesting to me. If you found any enjoyment out of it, I hope you did. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff you guys know how to do, and I will see you guys when I see ya. Peace.